Welcome to the Experience PowerPoints.
Today we will have a presentation about nutrition, supplementation and sensitization that will be extended in many interesting aspects of it. Learning outcomes, sensitization intervals, food tolerance, vegan meals, fasting sensitization effect, daily vitamins and minerals, vegan proteins, additional nourishing supplements, and boosting ergogenic supplements. Sensitization intervals. The gap time which is needed before you consume the same ergogenic supplement and yield the same ergogenic effect, which is the addition of the double number of extra repetitions than you normal expected to add, which it can be shown especially when you work out in a working frequency of once per week with the same exercises in the same order. This needed gap is 20 to 21 days or a 3 weeks gap period. But this ergogenic effect, when you increase the frequency of your exercise, for instance, once per 2 days, or every day performing the same exercises, those supplements in this way cannot cause this ergogenic effect. They may increase only the reps of the first exercise, making the consumption of those supplements likely unnecessary for this matter, which has to be further tested for a more clearer experience data. This gap sensitization intervals of 20 to 21 days can also be taken before you consume the same meal, protein, spice, nuts or other foods, in order to don't build any tolerance to the foods that you consume, and also for absorbing them better when you consume them. Vegan meals. Vegan meals that it was shown to don't cause any food intolerance to this project producing subject from a variety of vegan meals which have been tested so far were rice, gluten homemade bread, soy homemade bread, oats homemade bread, or when some of those 4 types of food are not available, you can substitute them with legumes, such as lentils and chickpeas, or other types of foods that you may want to try. In order to have a gap time of 3 weeks before you consume the same type of food again, you divide those 3 weeks with the total number of the tolerable foods which you like to consume in this period, but at -1, in order to see how many consecutive days you can have the same type of food. For example, as we show here, 4 types of meals -1 equals 3, and when you divide those 21 days with 3, that equals to 7 days. So in this way, you consume each meal for 1 week, followed by the next one next week, and from then on, you can follow this order as a cycle. And here you can see some examples of those meals from different suppliers, beginning with Buy Whole Foods Organic Basmati Brown Rice, the 25 kilograms at 72.80 pounds. In Aldi Worldwide Brown Rice, the 1 kilogram at 1.5 pounds. Buy Whole Foods Organic Soy Flour Toasted, the 25 kilograms at 112.68 pounds. Buy Whole Foods Organic Gluten, the 25 kilograms at 148 pounds. Buy Whole Foods Organic Oats, the 25 kilograms at 30.90 pounds, and oats from Aldi or Tesco 1 pound per kilogram. Vegetables. Also in the same way, you can cycle the consumption of vegetables by creating again 4 divisions of vegetable groups such as corn with green beans, spinach with broccoli, mushrooms with carrots in the case that you choose to consume roots, and eggplants with zucchini or courgette. Each week, you consume the vegetables that are in the same group, and you move to the next group each week. In this way you cycle the consumption of those foods in order to have a gap time of 3 weeks before you consume the same type of food again. In this way you don't develop tolerance to those foods, and you absorbing them better when you consume them. Salads. Also in the same way, you can cycle the consumption of salads by creating again 4 divisions of salads groups such as tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, and lettuce with kale. Each week, you consume the salads that are in the same group, and you move to the next group each week. In this way you cycle the consumption of those foods in order to have a gap time of 3 weeks before you consume the same type of food again. Fruits and greens in a smoothie. Also in the same way you can cycle the consumption of fruits and greens by creating again 4 divisions of fruits and green groups such as citrus fruits, oranges, mandarins, lemons, etc. with avocados and celery, synchronized with the A spices group. Bananas with grapes and parsley, synchronized with the B spices group. Apples with pears and basil, synchronized with the C spices group. And peaches, nectarines, prunes with kiwis and mint, synchronized with the D spices group. You label its group as A, B, C, and D, in order in the same letters group, to be categorized the facts that may be also used in other categories, such as basil can appear in both the group C, of fruits and greens, but also in the category C of spices, as we will see later on. This is done in order to don't disturb this gap time of 21 days, and also in order to know in which letters group your week is on. Nuts and seeds. Also in the same way you can cycle the consumption of nuts and seeds, which you may also add to your smoothies, by creating again 4 divisions of nuts and seeds groups such as peanuts with walnuts, cashews with raisins, almonds with hazelnuts, and sunflower seeds with linseeds and pistachios. Spices. Also, in the same way, you can cycle the consumption of spices, which you may also add to your smoothies by creating again 4 divisions of spices groups such as cumin, nutmeg, paprika, garlic, black pepper, oregano, celery, parsley, and sage, while also you can add in this category sea salt and brown sugar. Next, turmeric, ginger, cloves, vanilla, basil, and tamarind pressed fruit. Then, chili, cinnamon, licorice root, saffron, and cardamom. And last, curry, dania, fenugreek seeds, thyme, and bay leaves. You may also buy and add to those categories coriander leaves, fennel seeds, mint leaves, and rosemary. Beverages. Also, in the same way, you can cycle the consumption of beverages by creating again 4 divisions of different beverage groups such as tea, chamomile, rosemary, and peppermint. Each week, you drink the beverages that are in the same group and you move to the next group each week. In this way, you cycle the drinking of those beverages in order to have a gap time of 3 weeks before you drink the same type of beverage again. In this way, you don't develop tolerance to those beverages and you absorbing them better when you drinking them. You may also choose to add to your beverage groups instant herbal beverages such as this one from Herbalife Nutrition, or you can buy it on Amazon at £28.99, the 100 grams. Diffuse natural essential oil scents. Also, in the same way, you can cycle the diffusion of essential oil scents by creating again 4 divisions of essential oil scents groups such as citrus, orange and lemon, lavender and vanilla, almond, cream, caramel and alcohol, and peppermint and eucalyptus. You may also choose to add to those essential oils hemp oil, olive oil, sunflower oil, and rosemary oil. Each week, you diffuse the essential oil scents that are in the same group, and you move to the next group each week. In this way, you cycle the diffusion of those essential oil scents in order to have a gap time of 3 weeks before you diffuse the same type of essential oil scents again. In this way, you sense those essential oil scents better when you diffuse them. And you can use for the diffusion of those essential oils diffusers such as the Economical Young Living's Ultrasonic 2-Drop Diffuser. Fasting sensitization effect. After you fast, you are able to detect foods, juices, and even waters in which you are intolerant to, and overall you can sensitize yourself, which was more obvious on a prolonged fasting period that had its drawbacks in the gain of strength, while this drawback wasn't observed with intermittent fasting. Daily vitamins and minerals. You can consume those supplements in the morning when you start your day. Supplements like those are multivitamins and mineral formulas, omega-3s, and probiotics. And for your joints, glucosamine hydrochloride and chondroitin, but also MSM. And here we can see all of those multivitamins and mineral formulas, omega-3s, and probiotics with their corresponding prices. Also noting that the omega-3s are of a vegan type from green algae. Vegan proteins. In the same way, you can cycle the consumption of different types of vegan proteins if you choose to consume them. And if they are extracted from the same food source of a food that you eat, synchronize for both of them their consumption to be in the same week. Protein types: brown rice protein, soy protein isolate, hemp protein, pea protein isolate, and pumpkin seed protein. In the case that you select to use 4 of them, you can keep the consumption of each type of protein for a week, followed by the next type of protein next week. And here we can see all of those vegan proteins with their corresponding prices. Other nutritional facts. Also, in the same way, you can cycle the consumption of additional supplements, which they can be taken as nourishing facts, which you may also add to your smoothies that may already contain fruits, nuts, and spices with 3 services of protein and 1 service of MSM powder. By creating again 4 divisions of nourishing facts and utilizing its group for a week. Those groups are choline bitartrate, alpha GPC, which is a more bioavailable but also more expensive form of it, DMA powder and inositol, L-glutamine and vitamin C, cacao powder and maca powder, and green superblend powder, wheatgrass powder and spirulina powder. While also you may add in those groups supplements or other additional facts. And here we can see some of those nutritional facts with their corresponding prices. And here are the rest of those facts with their corresponding prices. Boosting ergogenic supplements. Those supplements, when they are taken 45 minutes before your specific exercises, more in the case that you perform the same exercise once per week, can cause the addition of the double amount of repetitions than those you was expecting to add, as a result when they are taken for the first time. But in the case that you work out every day or every 2 days with the same exercises, those additional repetitions only observed to be added at your first exercise. In order to have the same effect, you have to leave a gap of 20 to 21 days before you consume the same ergogenic supplement again, in order to regain its ergogenic effect. Also, by following this frequency of consumption, you use the less amount of supplement, and you have the most ergogenic effect out of it, which is the most economical and sustainable way of consumption, or else less for more. In order to use them efficiently, it requires you to know which supplements are of the same category, and choose to use one of them in order to have this ergogenic effect, but also, in order to don't disturb the gap time that you are taking before you consume the same supplement again, and been able to regain its ergogenic effect. In addition, if you want to use a combination of those supplements together, you have to know which combinations work, because some of them cancel the action of other ones out antagonistically. And now let's see those ergogenic supplements, which they were found after years of experimentation with the facts of different pre-workout formulas, in order to find the active ingredients which actually cause those ergogenic effects, and select to use only those facts that required a lot of money and time in the process, which led to a more economic and fine-tuned number of choices. The first is D-ribose, with effective dose bin at 3 grams, which is required for the synthesis of ADP and NADH that cause its ergogenic effect. Second, carbolin homopolysaccharide formula, with effective dose bin at 30 grams, which is very good fuel for the production of ADP. Third, the creatine category, which is also a source of ADP, and the one type is creatine ethyl ester hydrochloride, with a minimum effective dose bin at 1 gram. The crealkaline creatine is also in this category with the same dose, while creatine monohydrate needs a loading period of 6 to 7 days at least in order to cause its ergogenic effect. From this category you have to choose only one of those, because if you choose another one is just the same, and you may disturb the gap times that you are taking. The fourth is the peak ADP formula, with effective dose bin at 400 milligrams, which as its name suggests, is a clear source of ADP. Fifth is the coenzyme Q10, with effective dose bin at 600 milligrams, which exerts its function in the electron transport chain in order to produce ADP. Sixth, the NADH enzyme, or else nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, with a minimum effective dose bin at 5 to 10 milligrams, which fuels the electron transport chain from the citric acid or Krebs cycle in order to produce ADP. Seventh, beta-alanine, with a minimum effective dose bin 1 gram, which increase the levels of carnosine, and subsequently decrease advanced glycation end products, decrease fatigue, increase creatine phosphate and aerobic breakdown, and increase the glycolytic metabolism. Eighth, citrulline malate, with a minimum effective dose bin 1 gram, which is an intermediate in the urea cycle, which excretes ammonia and convert it subsequently to urea, also as a byproduct of arginine's metabolism or else citrullination, in which arginine becomes ornithine and then citrulline. And here we can see all of those supplements with their corresponding prices. The ninth boosting supplement are the leucine-based type of supplements, which is the most essential brand chain amino acid. The first type is HMB or beta-hydroxy-beta-methylbutyrate, with effective dose bin at 3 grams, which is a minor leucine metabolite that promotes protein biosynthesis via the RAG-GTPase, which cause phosphorylation of the rapamycin or mTOR 3 in protein kinase. This pathway subsequently regulates protein synthesis, cell growth, aerobic glycolysis, and subsequent ADP, NADH and FADH production. Then those subsequently contributes to the production, as we previously mentioned, of ADP, while also regulates RNA translation and de novo nucleotide synthesis. A second type is the Hicamax labratis formula, with effective dose bin at 2 tablets. That is a type of leucic acid, which also increase protein synthesis, and is similar to HMB. The third type is actually the L-leucine amino acid, which requires 6 to 7 days load before it starts causing its ergogenic effects. Moreover, the end products of its metabolism are acetyl-CoA and acetoacetate, which are ketogenic amino acids, which can enter the Krebs cycle. The fourth type are BCAAs, or all-brand chain amino acids, which also require 6 to 7 days load before it starts causing its ergogenic effects. This group contain the amino acid leucine, which is the ergogenic factor, and also the amino acids isoleucine and valine. Both HMB and Hicamax can cause that ergogenic effect at one dose before exercise, with the HMB being the most economical choice. Again, as in the case of creatine, choose one of them. And here you can see all those leucine-based supplements with their corresponding prices, while in the products that you see here, Muscle Text Leucic and MyProteins L-leucine have actually the same amino acid as the main fact. And now let's see the 10th ergogenic supplement, which is L-glycine, with a minimum effective dose bin 1 gram, which is a neurotransmitter that is a required coagonist, along with glutamate, for the NMDA receptor. 11th L-taurine, with a minimum effective dose bin 1 gram, which is a neurotransmitter that acts as an NMDA receptor agonist, which also decrease advanced glycation end products. 12th D-aspartic acid or DAA, with a minimum effective dose bin 1 gram, which acts also as a neurotransmitter agonist for the NMDA receptor. It is also a testosterone booster, but it can cause unwanted hair growth. It facilitates the release of hormones such as luteinizing hormone, LH, follicle-stimulating hormone, FSH, and growth hormone, GH. All of those 12 supplements were amino acids, enzymes, saccharides, and generally fats that can be found in your daily diet. While of a herbal source that work ergogenically, which I don't suggesting you consuming them, because they can not found in your daily diet and may cause unwanted effects. The one is your himbine, which facilitates the release of several neurotransmitters, such as nitric oxide and norepinephrine, but also is a 5-HT1A partial agonist. And the second one is dimethylamine, or DMAA, or geranamine. All those names are for the same fact. This fact caused decrease in your vision, but instead of adding the double amount of repetitions, as in the previously mentioned supplements, with this one you can add the triple amount of repetitions than those that you was expecting to add. It can cause bronchodilation, increasing your blood pressure, and also is an catecholamine reuptake inhibitor, catecholamine relishing agent, and acts on alpha and beta adrenergic receptors. Those last of the 12 supplements can be shown here, with their corresponding prices. We can see, in both the formulas-driven and GACIC, the active ergogenic ingredient is glycine, while in formulas like Hot Blood, No Shotgun, and other nitric oxide formulas, the active ergogenic ingredient is taurine, while also you can see a variety of D-aspartic acid products. And here you can see the last two mentioned herbal ergogenic factors containing products with their corresponding prices, with Nox Pump, geranamine, JAK3D, and DMAA, which all have as active ergogenic factor the 1,3-dimethylamylamine, and also in the end, you can see one yahimbine product in its hydrochloride form. And now let's have a closer look to some possible working synergistically tested combinations of those ergogenic supplements. Let's begin. HMB with coenzyme Q10, HMB with taurine, HMB with creatine, HMB with ADP and glycine. A triple combination there. Beta-alanine with creatine, beta-alanine with glycine, beta-alanine with taurine, beta-alanine with D-ribose, and NADH. Another triple combination. Taurine with citrulline, taurine with carbolin, taurine with coenzyme Q10, taurine with coenzyme Q10, and carbolin. Another triple combination there. Creatine with citrulline and D-aspartic acid, which is also another triple combination. Citrulline with D-aspartic acid, glycine with ADP, and D-ribose with NADH. Those are some useful tested working synergistic combinations. And now some additional experience points. Overall, in this way, you can apply those practical principles if you are in those outward cycles yourself, by using this practical experience data, which you may enrich with your own in the future, or back from the future. And in this way, you can bring the experience of those outward cycles closer to your inward radar cycles.
Because when you choose from experience, you become experienced. The end.
Like and subscribe. See you in the next one.
Level
Level
up.
up.